Hey Icloners, this is the Biz. Today I am looking at my French Connection recreation poster and how I created it. We're going to look at this main image here. The two posters are shown. One on the left is my recreation here, and the one on the right is obviously the original. Great movie, crazy movie, very different from any action cop movie that you might find today. And the poster itself is actually pretty different than you might find today. There's a lot of weird white space going on. Not sure why they put the V up here. It's just an interesting, I mean, how often would you find a poster for a today cop action movie where your hero, Popeye Doyle in this case, is shooting a man in the back? That's their main picture for their poster. Crazy movie. Great movie, worth checking out if you got the time. Go watch The French Connection. It's an excellent one. I decided to recreate this movie, this poster, because I really liked the action scene that's going on here. The fact that he is shooting somebody in the back. I love the expression. I wanted to recreate that, and it's just an awesome movie. So whatever. I'm doing the poster recreation. I'm going to go very briefly into some of the things that I did. There's one tip I think that may help some people out in their future endeavors, and we're going to move on from there. First off, when I decided to make this, I was at work, and I don't have Iclone, but I do have SketchUp. And looking at it, it's a above-ground subway stairs. And I went over to the 3D warehouse, the new 3D warehouse, which I'm not sure how I feel about it, but whatever. I searched around and I did not find anything that I liked. I didn't find any stairs, nothing that I could recreate this scene to the best that I wanted to do. So what I did was I went and recreated my own scene. Okay, hope I didn't just lose you. A little issue with my recording technique, but this here is the SketchUp model that I created. I started with the first initial step, recreated it, made 3 of them, then recreated those 3 and made it all the way up to the top, made one side of the banner, duplicated it to the other side, and made the steps. I'm not going to go into it because this isn't a SketchUp tutorial, but this is the basics of how I created it. Then I knew that the angle was going to be approximately something looking like this, right? And so I went ahead and I created the pavement down below and the building as well, with a couple of the cutouts just to create some deviancy along the way. So this was my original model. I brought this into Iclone, and it ended up looking like this. That's, well, pretty much exactly the same. Bring it up, and there you go. This is basically the model that I used to create my poster. A lot of the little cutouts that I put in here didn't get into the final shot, just because of the angle and such. But I was happy with the way that it looked. I was happy with the stairway. I thought that it was kind of similar to what the actual above ground subway entrances look like. I've used many of them in my time. I live here in New York City. And so there I created my scene. Then I needed to get 2 people. Here's the one tip that I'm going to introduce to you, which I think may be of some utility for you. The actor that I'm using, his name is Feely. It's an actor that I created from a comic book that I really like called The Filth. Nasty comic book. Not family friendly for anybody who cares, but it's a great comic book, wonderful one. And here he is. He's just a normal average guy, and I'm going to show you. Here he is. I ended up using him for the protagonist. Okay. One of the things that I did here, his hair actually is not, see, it's a real hairstyle. I forget which one it is, but what I did with it is I pulled it down a little lower to give him that balding look. Enjoyed that look. We're going to darken it a little bit because the character in our thing has black hair. And now we're going to get out of the hair. What I'm actually going to show you I gave him a different top, because if we go back and we look at the original poster, he's wearing something of a pea jacket, right? I happen to own something that looks a little bit like a pea jacket here. If I can find it. I bought the G3 men's cloth, and I'm going to add, so now he's starting to look a little more like our man in the poster, right? Now, the thing that I needed was gloves, and I didn't have any experience with gloves. And so I went to the marketplace and I looked around, and I only found gloves for a G5 character. And I bought them, and I was like, oh, okay, interesting. Actually, I found Mickey Mouse gloves, and they did me no good. I didn't need Mickey Mouse oversized hands. So I buy these G5 gloves, and obviously you can't put G5 gloves on a G3 character. Oh, okay. So what are our options at this point? Well, I went into the hands. I said, let's look at the skin. And I go into the skin, and I select hands as seen here. And I go in and I say, let's make this darker, right? Because that seems like a normal choice. Oh, uh-oh. Problem is, as his hand skin darkens, so does all of his skin. And that's not what we want. And so what I had to do, click on the hand, and we're going to launch the editor. We go down here to launch. We're going to launch our default graphics editor, whatever it may be. In my case, it's GIMP. GIMP is an open source graphics editor. There's also plenty of graphic editors available online that you don't have to have any software available. And you see that we have the hands here. And all you got to do is make them black. This is an image. We're going to, oops, not there. We want to make sure we fill the whole selection. Boom, it's black. I'm going to save it. Save, run back, boom, man has black gloves. And that was pretty much the biggest tip that I could give to you from this particular movie poster. I set it up. I'm going to show you a series of shots. I probably spent an hour creating the subway stairs, and I probably spent an hour and a half creating the characters and getting their costumes right, and then I probably spent about 3 hours going between, going between this and this. I'm going back and forth and saying, oh, look at his stance, and look at how he, and just back and forth constantly. And then I'd email it to myself, and I'd look at it at work where I'm using Photoshop on occasion, and just the total comparison between the two. That was probably more along the lines of 4 hours. As a series of shots, this was one of the first drafts. Not a bad shot. I enjoyed it. I added this light bulb here. I added that in Iclone. It ends up that this looked okay as his stance, as Popeye's stance down at the bottom, until you really start to think about it, and then it starts to change. But the next draft, I changed his facial color, his skin color, darkened it up a little bit to be a little more similar to the poster. The next change is here. I've changed Popeye's stance. He's a little more standing up, a little more natural as he's shooting the man who is fleeing in the background. Then changed his stance once again. He's just a little more natural. Oh, I apologize for that. Here we are. And then finally we move to this one here. Move Popeye over to the middle. And I changed the camera. Now this is actually a pretty big one. If you watch, see, to here, moving back and forth. I changed the camera angle a little bit more to emphasize the man who's being shot in the back. Also, his angle is moved forward a little bit. Notice here it looks like he's almost falling down the steps, which is not what the original poster has happening. He's being shot in the back and being propelled forward, which is what I moved here. Also, I've added this door. It was a separate SketchUp prop. I made it in about 20 seconds. Threw it in, and I knocked this sign out. Took it out of the original prop, added it in Iclone so that I can move it around as I wanted. And then the final adjustment that I made was with not the lighting, but more so the effects darkened things up a little bit. You can see the concrete here. You can see better the textures on the stairs. And this was the final shot that I ended up using. And as you can see, it's a shot that I very much liked, and that I think worked pretty well in comparison to the actual poster, as you can see here. So that's pretty much it for me. I hope you got something out of this, and I hope you have a good Iclone day, or whatever my catchphrase might be. See ya.